Shang-Chi was one of the most surprising movies for me in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's not even close, guys. I went into this movie not expecting nearly what we got out of this title. I absolutely loved Shang-Chi. This was an incredible film, guys. From really beginning to end, I thought that there wasn't a lot of flaws, at least to me, within the movie. From a Marvel movie perspective, I thought that it was absolutely incredible. Loved a lot of the lore here. I loved that it felt like a Harry Potter movie, a Lord of the Rings movie, a Narnia movie, all built into one with Kung Fu and martial arts. I just thought that there was so much, substance to this movie that it's quickly now being Shang-Chi 2, already a lot of buzz and talk about the title. It's already climbing my list of most anticipated movies of the future. And so with that, I want to talk about Shang-Chi 2 and everything that we know at this point in time. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from the folks over at The Digital Fix, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings finally hit theaters, and to say it's been a roaring success would be an understatement. The 25th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a critical and commercial success, earning 92% on Rotten Tomatoes and raking in millions at the box office. As this is the MCU, it's unlikely this is the last we've seen of Shang-Chi, or his best friend turned ace archer, Katie. So to bring you all the latest news on the Shang-Chi sequel, we've dug into the forbidden tomes in the library of Kamar Taj. What is the Shang-Chi 2 release date? If we know anything about Marvel Studios, it's that they like to plan ahead. The studio has already mapped out its Phase 4 movies, so we know we won't be getting Shang-Chi 2 for a few years yet. That said, they've slowly started announcing more movies that we presume are part of Phase 5, including Anthony Mackie's Captain America film and Deadpool 3. So let's talk about that, guys. So when is this movie going to come out? Well, number one is the story is most likely, and the movie probably won't be releasing for quite some time now. I would say we're probably at least 2, more like 3 to 5 years away from the release of Shang-Chi 2. I mean, look, they built up such huge amounts of excitement around this title. They're going to want to take a number of years to make sure that the sequel is on pace, or is like,
or even better,
or on the same level, if not better. I mean, it's hard to believe. I mean, it would be hard to believe could they top this? Could they top Shang-Chi 2? But we've seen Marvel do it before in the form of Avengers Infinity War. We're like, wow, how could they get any better than that? Comes Avengers Endgame, and my God, blew everyone's mind. So Shang-Chi, if there's any team out there, production team out there that I trust to top what we saw with Shang-Chi, it'd be Marvel, without question. And I'm a DC fan, guys.
Me too.
Marvel has the formula to unbelievable things. So obviously, guys, we're probably a few years away from the Shang-Chi 2 trailer. After Shang-Chi's dramatic ending and intriguing post-credit scenes, Marvel Studios could take the sequel in quite a few different directions. Still, to be honest, it's difficult to predict anything at the moment. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has the potential to turn the Who MCU on its head, so we're not going to make any predictions lest we embarrass ourselves later. That said, if we were forced to, we imagine the story will probably deal with Shang-Chi's sister. I forget how you even say her name. Xialing was supposed to be shutting down her dad's evil terrorist organization, but it seems like she's co-opted the Ten Rings for her own nefarious ends, something we doubt her brother will be pleased with. So guys, there was a couple of obviously post-credit scenes, and one of them has his sister taking the 10 rings. So as it's a Marvel movie, we can probably guess that Shang-Chi will be called to assemble the next time the Earth's threatened by some intergalactic purple guy with a death wish and a fancy glove. Who knows? Maybe Katie will join Shang-Chi on the Avengers as well. And I 100% believe Shang-Chi will be one of the next upcoming Avengers. So one person who's already thinking about Shang-Chi's next outing is Marvel Studios' boss, Kevin Feige. The mastermind himself, Kevin Feige, says the early reactions to the characters and to Shang-Chi itself gives me great hope that people will want to see more of these characters, he told comicbook.com. We certainly have many ideas of where to take them and where to put them. What's so fun, we know the movie's working when it's not just the title character that people ask about, but is the co-stars or the supporting players that people ask about. And I agree with that 100%. So before we go further, Alyssa, you've seen obviously Shang-Chi. We finished this movie. Didn't see it in theaters. We waited for it on Disney Plus, and when it came out, we certainly watched it right when it came on Disney Plus, and it was certainly a title that, you know, we had heard everyone was talking about, saying that was really great. But obviously, guys, I'm one of those individuals that I will judge things based on after I watch them. I don't listen to what other people are saying. That's the same thing with gaming, because there may be, you know, a bunch of people saying that a video game is terrible, and I played and I think it's actually great. The same thing with movies. You know, all these people saying Shang-Chi's great. Well, to me, it might not be great, but I gotta tell you, it was great. What were your initial thoughts to Shang-Chi?
Honestly, I went into it thinking it wasn't going to be very good. I was like, you know, and so I like the first like 10, 15 minutes, I was just kind of like, oh, this kind of, you know, but then there was like this part where this little round creature with wings comes into the show. I'm like, okay, so we have some like fantasy creatures going on here, and then they started showing dragons, and you know, that he went to his if you haven't seen it, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but if you have seen it, when he goes to his mother's homeland, you know, they have all these creatures, and it's a beautiful place. And I thought it was so cool. I'm really into the superhero movies. I love superheroes. I've been a DC fan my whole life, but Marvel's really stepped up with their movies more than DC has. But I really was like, okay, they're going somewhere really cool with this. And like he has already said, it kind of gave you like a Narnia vibe, Harry Potter vibe, Lord of the Rings vibe, but with superhero. So it was like superhero plus fantasy, which was really cool, I think. They haven't done that with any other superhero. I mean, you have your enemies and your, you know, that kind of stuff, but to bring in the creatures and the dragons, and like, I thought that was really cool. I think it really topped my expectations. It really did. And it was like, I kind of went into the same way with Black Widow. I heard a bunch of people say, oh, it's terrible, it's bad. And that was really good, I thought. So, you know, I kind of went into the same vibe with Shang-Chi. I was like, it's not going to be that good. You know, it's really not a superhero we hear much about. And I thought it was probably one of my favorite Marvel movies so far.
For sure. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Are we going to see Shang-Chi and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Doctor Strange, guys, was another one that just blew my mind. I was like, I don't really know much about this character. Strange, when that came out, I was like, wow, this is so, it's like Inception-like. It's just unbelievable. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, could he be in that? Could he be in Spider-Man No Way Home? With Doctor Strange, he opens up this multiverse and you get all these different characters coming through. Could Shang-Chi be one of them? Could some of those characters? I think it's absolutely, they opened up Pandora's box, guys. Obviously, they're going to be opening it here with Spider-Man No Way Home, which is the first Spider-Man in a while that I am really excited to see because of all the characters involved. And, of course, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield reportedly, they could be coming back to help Spider-Man in this universe, which is, I mean, very interesting.
Because we weren't really impressed with Spider-Man Homecoming.
No. No, I was not a huge fan of that one.
Yeah. And, you know, there's talks of Spider-Man kind of like taking Tony Stark's place as like head of the Avengers. I read an article about that. Yeah, there's yesterday.
There's a lot of talk about it. I think that it sounds like Sony, though, is trying to get the rights back of Spider-Man, or they have the rights, of course. So this may be the last one with Tom Holland in the MCU, and then he's going to be in Sony's universe with Morbius and Venom. And so there's a lot of talk with that as well.
But I think the last two Marvel movies, Black Widow Black Widow was really good. I don't care what anyone else says. I thought it was action. It was, I've always loved Black Widow as a superhero and part of the Avengers. I think she's great and she's very well known, but Shang-Chi was even better than that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at, is that there's...
Because I liked Black Widow because it was more of her backstory and how she kind of became Black Widow and how, like, where she came from. And Shang-Chi was kind of the same way. It was like where he came from his dad was like the 10 rings, but his mom was also powerful too. Like she had magic, and so he was the product of both of them, and he was just really powerful. And I hope they continue his story. I think it, and I hope they add him to the Avengers. I think he would be a great addition to the Avengers, I think.
But that's what I'm getting at, guys, when I say that, not always listening to the noise of what other people are saying. Because a lot of people were saying Black Widow was not any good. And then, obviously, we watched that, and I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I didn't think it was, like, the best one out of all of the Marvel movies. But I thought it was great. And,
I like when we get a backstory of these characters that we've loved and followed for so long. It's nice to know where they came from, how they became who they are. Mm-hmm. Like how Black Widow became Black Widow, how Captain America became Captain America. Like, it's nice to know their backstory. And, I mean, I think Black Widow was one of the best, like, for a while.
Yeah.
But now I think Shang-Chi really, like, even topped that one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it did. Yeah,
I'm glad it went above my expectations.
Right. Absolutely.
Look, because, I went into it, I don't really know anything about him, and so it was a really good movie. It was.
And
I hope they bring Katie back with him, because she brought, like, a funny aspect to the movie, and she was, like, kind of clumsy, but, like, she ended up being very trivial in the end of the movie. So, I kind of like how they're going to where it's almost like his sister is now going to become his enemy. And so now he has to get the rings back from her. So
yeah, and I really want to see more of that little creature with the wings. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a baby Yoda.
It almost made you want it.
Like,
it made you want to have one. It's like this little round ball. I'm not even sure if it had eyes, but
I'm surprised that character hasn't gone viral. We have to make that character go viral.
Cute. I don't even know what he's called.
That little guy was awesome. He's a cute character, but he reminded me of like Baby Yoda. But Baby Yoda blew up. This guy, he's he hasn't blown up yet. I think he needs to blow up.
It's one of those creatures that it's like, man, I want one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish they were real because they were cute But then it really started the aspect of, and then a really funny part of the movie was like the guy that was in like the dungeon or whatever, he was like, oh, you can see the creature? I thought I was the only one who could see it. Like, that was a really funny part, but I really liked that they mixed the fantasy with the superhero. I think that's so cool. It hasn't been done before, right? I mean, they haven't really had, like, fantasy, like, dragons.
But you can tell, though, now that we're getting deeper into the Marvel Cinematic Universe with, like, Doctor Strange opening up the multiverse and stuff, they're kind of opening up this Pandora's box to all this stuff, and they definitely showed that here with Shang-Chi. But that being said, though, guys, the real question is what do you guys think? What do you want to see out of Shang-Chi 2? When do you think we're going to get it? And what characters do you want to see back? What is it? What would you like to see?
Or do you even think there should be a Shang-Chi 2?
Yeah, exactly. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section down below. And for more Shang-Chi 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.